Welcome everyone for this special video in which we will cover the long and bloody reign of the great emperor of Assyria, Shalmaneser III. Thanks for your likes and comments to help the channel grow. I'm the Archivist. Strap yourselves, folks. We will quickly go over the first conflict between the city of Sparta in Greek southern Peloponnese and Argos in northeast of this very region. Two dynasties are reigning together over Sparta, maybe even three at the very beginning of this cluster of villages' history. Here, in 870 BC, the Agiad king Leobotes and the Eurypontid Euryphon expand their influence over Laconia, the close surroundings of Sparta, also called Lacedaemonia. Argive influence is repulsed northward despite Argos' superior might at that time. Proof of that superiority is that the following Agiad king of Sparta, Dorissos, could have been killed in combat against the Argive forces. Just so you know, we don't need it right now, but I have prepared the first Europe map of this series of videos. Alright, now, out of the Assyrian corner. Crowned in 859 BC, Shalmaneser III of his name, already hungry of conquests. He possibly immediately launched a campaign against Nearia or Urartu, a recent Hurrian and Hayasa-Adzi kingdom on the Armenian plateau. Its king Kakia defeated the local tribe of the Mamikonian to establish his power, now incarnated by his numerous war chariots and his cavalrymen. His horses are so reputed that Assyrians buy a lot from them. Maybe that's why Shalmaneser III wants to get his hands on this land. This is our man, right here, whose exploits will be described at length on many tales of the time, with lots of exaggerations, as we will see together throughout this video. In 858, many parts of the world have yet no idea of what's gonna fall on their heads very soon. Almost carelessly, Ben-Hadad II, Aramean king of Damascus, goes to war against Achab of Israel in this region, taking Ramoth in Gilead east of the Jordan River, but failing to take the capital Samaria, defended by 7,000 Israelites. Josaphat of Judah, south of Israel, rushes to aid Achab, who must think he really did well when reinforcing his fortifications not long ago. More on this war next year. While this time, Shalmaneser III of Assyria continues his campaigns against Urartu. He succeeds in several sieges or battles, causing much devastations before turning westward across the Euphrates to do the same in northern Syria and up there in eastern Anatolia. Pyramids of heads, impalings of vanquished and sacrifices to the gods are made, different steles indicating 14,600 to 44,000 Hittite, or Neo-Hittites, should we say, prisoners taken after the killing of 2,800 of them. Through Mounts Amanus, Nur, today, Mediterranean is reached. Then, at last, it is time to go home, back in Assyria. And before moving on, here is, just to give you an idea of how tales of the time recounted wars, here is a tiny part of the cuneiform text of the Kurk monolith. Shalmaneser III speaks. I left Hubushkia and came to Sugunia, Arameans' royal city, approaching the Armenians. I stormed and captured their city, killing many of their soldiers and taking their booty. I erected a pyramid of heads in front of their city. I burned their neighboring cities and left Sugunia, descending upon the sea of the land of Neri. I cleaned my weapons into the sea, offering sacrifices to my gods, and erected a statue of myself, the glory of my great lord Assur, my lord, and inscribed the history of my great power. I put it on the shore of the sea. Returning, I received a tribute from Assur, the goods knight, horses, oxen, sheep, vine, 2 camels with 2 humps. I took them to my city of Assur. Whew, that was intense. You see, this is so dense I will leave many details out of the narration, unfortunately, throughout the video. The following year, 857 BC, the Peace of Aphek is signed to the advantage of Achab of Israel, who just defeated Ben-Hadad of Damascus, the Aramean. Ben-Hadad II got captured during the battle and gives some conquered lands back, but apparently not Ramoth in Galaad. While this time Shalmaneser III approaches, he campaigns westward from Syria up to Karkemish, taking, if tales of the time are to be believed, hundreds of places during his march. Maybe Urartu is struck somewhere during the year 2. 856 bis repetita, beyond the Euphrates and then back through Urartu with much glory and booty, of course. Next year, as Shalmaneser again defeats tens of thousands of enemies, even on sea or on a river, via rafts or papyrellas, small boats made of papyrus, succession is at stake in Babylonia after the death of Nabu-apla-iddina. His firstborn, Marduk-Zakir-Shuma I, faces a rebellion of his younger brother Marduk-Belushate, who seizes the lands around the Diyala River, somewhere over here, for some time. The firstborn will need some help sometime soon. 854. Shalmaneser is warring in Mounts Zagros and nearby, defeating at least 11 fortified cities. And in 853, this is it. Shalmaneser, expanding in Asia Minor and in Levant, Hadadezer, Aramean king of Damascus, also called Ben-Hadad II, assembles and leads a coalition of 12 entities against the Assyrian forces. Shalmaneser pillages Karkar, nowadays Tel Karkur in Syria, before confronting the coalition near the Orontes River, not far from the city. The Assyrian army would have ranged from 30 to 75,000, with 1,000 to 2,000 war chariots and up to 5 or 10,000 cavalrymen. On the other side of the field, the coalized army, still following the steels erected by the Assyrians, would have gathered 20,000 Damascenes with 1,200 chariots and as many riders, 12,000 men of Iruleni of Amma, somewhere over here, with 700 chariots and as many riders, 10,000 men and 2,000 chariots of Achab of Israel, 10,000 men and 10 chariots of King Irkanatu, a few thousand warriors and 30 chariots of Adunubal of Sianu, 1,000 Ammonites of King Baasa, 500 Bybelosians, 200 men of Matanbal the first of Arwad, 200 of King Usanatu, maybe 1,000 camel-mounted warriors of Arabia, and at least 1,000 soldiers sent by Pharaoh Ozarkon II of the 22nd dynasty of Egypt. All of this accumulation amounted to nothing, as Shalmaneser III scored a victory, killing 15 to 20,000 enemies whose bodies blocked the waters of the Orontes. But none of the vanquished leaders loses his throne, and many other battles will be fought in the upcoming years, as we will see. With far less details, don't you worry! The following year, we see that the Assyrian common enemy doesn't stop the kings of Levant from battling one another, as Achab of Israel allies with Josaphat of Judah and goes on a campaign against Ben-Hadad II of Damascus to retake Ramoth in Galaad from him. Alas, Achab is killed by an Aramean arrow and Josaphat barely comes back home with his life. Ochozias, son and successor of Achab, continues the alliance with Josaphat, and they turn their efforts southward, this time aiming at controlling the coasts of the Red Sea. But Judah's fleet is sunk in a storm, maybe, at Ezion-Geber in the Gulf of Aqaba. The allies have to build new ships now. Around the same time, Shalmaneser III must be tired of his previous efforts, as he almost content himself with a little bit of killing around the springs of the Tigris. Oh, and I forgot to mention on one of the first views we had in the video, these bronze pieces are in fact from large doors of the city of Balawat. In northern Iraq today, the victorious campaigns of Shalmaneser III are depicted on them. On the first one, we saw a peculiar battering ram with kind of a siege tower on top of it. And on this one, we see the Assyrian army on the march, leaving the camp. Now is the year 851. Shalmaneser III starts intervening in Babylonia to aid Marduk-Zakir-Shumi I against his younger and rebelled brother Marduk-Bel-Ushate. Assyrian soldiers reach the south of the country against the Chaldeans. In the meantime, Archivist of Israel dies already, and his successor Joram, or Jehoram, who reigned until 842, will be helpless to prevent the Moabites from retaking their independence under their king Mesa. Jehoshaphat of Judah and the Edomites will take their turn at trying to submit the Moabites. Despite suffering defeats at Ziz and in front of their capital Dibon, if sources are to be trusted, the Moabites will hold and King Mesa will build fortresses to better ensure his independence. Moving on to 850, right after, the rebellion of Marduk-Bel-Ushate in Babylonia is over. He's been captured and executed. Before going back to Syria, Shalmaneser, whom we see here meeting with Marduk-Zakir-Shumi I of Babylon, attacks the Chaldeans and Arameans settled in southern Babylonia, helping Zakir-Shumi again. The following year, the Assyrians campaigned towards Carchemish, here, Aram Damascus, and Israel. Oh, and also through Mount Taurus against some Neo-Hittites, and according to Steels, glorifying Shalmaneser, the 12 kings coalition of the Battle of Karkar is again defeated. 848. Shalmaneser III tames uprisings in Hama or Hamat and in Aram Damascus, all in the Levant region. Hundreds of cities would have been struck, the coalition once again vanquished, 10,000 of its soldiers getting killed. On the way back, Shalmaneser passes through Urartu against Aramu or Kakia. 847, new Assyrian gains beyond the Euphrates. Can you imagine how much of Assyria's GDP was spent into all these non-stop military expeditions? 846, new fightings between Assyrians on the one side and Arameans and Israelites on the other side. Apparently, Joram of Israel somehow tries to take advantage of the chaos to retake some lands east of the Jordan River with no success. Maybe this happens through an alliance with Jehoshaphat of Judah and Edom against Ben-Hadad II of Damascus. They besiege Kir Hareshet, fail, are counterattacked, and Joram is besieged in his capital, Samaria, before the Arameans pull back. Jehoshaphat of Judah then confronts an I'm gonna show you the map, that's complicated. An Ammono-Moabo-Edomite alliance that he defeats or scare off at Ein Gedi, an oasis near Masada. He dies soon after. What a mess, right? And on top of it all, Shalmaneser III claims, of course, another victory over the 12 kings the following year. You sure they're not occupied licking their wounds after battling each other? But we'll let Assyria's 120,000 strong army, yeah, sure, as Joram, new king of Judah, is now attacked by the Edomites and the Philistines, Arabs as well, and maybe even Nubians. It gets weirder and weirder, right? And I swear I'm not making any of that up. Anyway, Joram of Judah will soon die as other cities like Libnah are revolting against him. 1 year later, new campaign of Shalmaneser III against the Kakia of Nerea or Aramu in Urartu, with no clear winner. Shalmaneser allies with the tribe of Nerea, the Dayyan. The year after, Shalmaneser dominates several opponents and have bastions built from Zagros to Hatti through Armenia, where Arzashkum, the capital, is taken and the Dayyan vanquished. Not ally anymore. The king of Nerea is in full flight. In 841 BC, a civil war erupts in China. More wars, but that changes us from Assyria at least. So, in China, the Zhou dynasty, weakened by giving up too much lands to its vassals of Yan, Lu, Qi, and Song, crumbles on its own. King Li of the Zhou is exiled, and in a matter of decades, the Zhou will effectively be reduced to inconsequence through these inner disorders, but also due to Kanrong assaults, the Kanrong of the steppes, and linked to the Qiangs. Back to the Middle East. Ochozias of Judah assists Joram of Israel in an attack to retake east of the Jordan River lands lost to the Arameans of King Hazael, assassin of Ben-Hadad II. They fail again before Ramoth in Galaad, Joram being injured and even betrayed by his general Jehu. In the end, both Hebrew kings are killed in the mutiny, and Jehu makes himself new king of Israel. But Aram Damascus, the Aramean kingdom, is not safe, however, for Shalmaneser III, finding Damascus not submissive enough, has been marching for some months with his army. Arrived on site, the Assyrians just step on the Arameans, killing 60,000 of them in a battle at Mount Saniru. But Hazael and his son Ben-Hadad then manage to hold off the Assyrian siege of Damascus. Frustrated, Shalmaneser unleashes his might against Israel of King Jehu, Judah of King Athaliah, and Phoenicia, devastating many settlements. Tyre and Sidon pay tribute to the Assyrian before he marches back northward. Here was Jehu submitting to Shalmaneser. 839 BC. Beyond the Euphrates, Shalmaneser III conquers the Neo-Hittite kingdom of Ko, with the assistance of some other Neo-Hittites. The following year, he's in Aram, taking 4 cities from Hazael, king of Aram Damascus. The next year, he's at it again against the 24 lords of Tabal in Cappadocia, region that will truly take this name, Katpatuka, under the Persians. It's over there. Shalmaneser also wars in ancient Elam in Namri, capturing King Yanzu. Here are some of his soldiers crossing a river on the bridge of boats on the right. In 836, Shalmaneser disciplines some Neo-Hittite kingdoms like Tabal and Milid. In 835, as he's fighting in western Zagros, defeating Yanzu of Namri, he receives the pledge of allegiance of 36 tribal chieftains, whom could well be Medes. These Central Asian nomads arrived in this region a few centuries ago and are now under pressure from Assyrians and Eurasians all alike. The Persians, an Aryan tribe, have settled just south of the Medes, somewhere over here probably, and even more south of this, in the surroundings of Anshan, that they slowly take away from the Elamites. 834. Like in 839, the kinglet Katay of Ko is attacked by Shalmaneser III, like Urartu possibly. The following year, in addition to restoring the old fortifications of Assur, Shalmaneser keeps the pressure on Katay of Ko and his neighbors in Mount Samanus or Nur. And in 832, at last, this is Shalmaneser III's last personal campaign, as he's getting older, the old chap. He attacks Sarduri, refounder of Urartu, from its new capital, Tushpa. Sarduri I resists, employing a few war chariots and some mounted cavalry, and even expanding his possessions over some tribes. And so, Shalmaneser, here on his war chariot, will from here on leave the command of his armies to his general-in-chief, or Tartan, Dayyan-Assur. And so in 831, it is Dayyan-Assur, the Tartan, that leads Assyrian troops westward to combat Neo-Hittites of Palestine, a kingdom between nowadays Turkey and Syria. The Palestines, or Palestines, have killed their lord Lubarna and put Suri in his stead. But this upstart is killed with his sons by Dayyan-Assur in the capital, Kinalua, and one Sassi is put in power by the Assyrians. The following year, Assyrian troops sack cities of Kiri, a part of Nerea. Next, Dayyan-Assur, the Tartan, is in campaign towards the lake Urmia, taking several cities for Shalmaneser. 828 BC. Dozens, if not hundreds of settlements, according to Assyrian steles of course, are taken by Dayyan-Assur in Urartu and its surroundings. And, whoa, 2 tranquil years, really? We take it for sure. In 825, Ishbuhini gets to the throne of Urartu, and he immediately conquers Muzasir, city astride modern Iraq and Iran. He later takes some part of the Mede lands, probably over there, in 2 words of course. Mede lands, you get it? Or maybe Persian lands, by the way. Urartians are getting comfortable, it seems. Have the Assyrians grown tired? Well, yes, kind of. The firstborn of Shalmaneser III, Assur-Danin-Apli, revolts against his father. 27 cities, including the most powerful, Nineveh, siding with him. And in 824, as the civil war is still raging, Shalmaneser III dies. The old warrior king would have killed 82,000 enemies, captured 110,000, taken 10,000 horses and mules throughout his campaigns, according to Assyrian sources. Another son of Shalmaneser, Shamshi-Adad, continues the fight against rebellious Assur-Danin-Apli, demanding assistance from Marduk-Zakir-Shumi I, the king of Babylon, whom promptly accepts, happy to place the Assyrian in his debt. And this is where we will get off, my friends. 823 BC, Shamshi-Adad becomes Shamshi-Adad V after triumphing against his elder in the Assyrian civil war. Shamshi's reign won't see any expansion of Assyria, and the failed campaign will even see Ishbuhini of Urartu gain some lands over it. Next time, folks, we will talk about Carthage, Semiramis of Babylon and her hanging gardens, Rome, and more, all in one video. Thanks for your fidelity after this very packed video, and share your thoughts in the comments below about the cruel conquering kings of antiquity. Signing out, bye bye.